Welcome back to another episode of Uploaded and Unfiltered, the podcast in which I, your host Jermaine, interviews another content creator in regards to their journey in this content creation game thus far. Tonight, as always, I have a special guest. I'm going to read their bio, introduce them, and get this conversation started. AuraScope is your favorite gamer glamour girl. She blends the beauty of makeup, gaming, fashion, and lifestyle into her content creation on all platforms. Known for her extensive work in esports hosting tournaments in partnership with brands like Elgato, Benefits Cosmetics, and Genji Esports, AuraScope has broken boundaries in gaming by advocating for diversity. Her biggest project, the Black is Legendary 2024 tournament series in partnership with Elgato, celebrated Black gamers across 6 titles and garnered over 800,000 views across Twitch with 171 participants and $11,000 in prizes. AuraScope has emerged as a trendsetter in the online sphere, captivating audiences with a fusion of vibrant makeup artistry and immersive gaming content. From educating her community on the latest beauty trends to practicing her aim in Overwatch 2 or hosting an online tournament, this content luminary continues to connect with audiences, leaving an incredible mark on beauty and gaming communities everywhere. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my guest for the evening, the one, the only AuraScope. Welcome to the podcast. How is your day going?
Hello. No, you're good. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? What's up?
I am good. Welcome. I'm glad we were able to get some time on the book so we can, chit chat a little bit.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. It's been a long time coming. You were so patient with me because when you messaged me and I was like, okay, I got this on the list, this is the list. Great. Okay. I'm going to look at this. Yes. And then a whole month passed by and I said, I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Nah, you are good. I was actually talking to my wife. I'm really good or bad about following up with people because I know for fact you were busy. You had the tournament going,
Yes.
and I talked to our mutual Jedi.
Yeah,
I was like looking for her. He's like, I think she's mad busy. I'm like, all right, I'll wait. I'm good. Like she could get it to me like in the summer and be like, hey, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
I really do appreciate your patience though.
Hey, no problem at all. I understand. And with that, I actually, because this is such a passion for me, because I get to ask my friends, not personal questions, but just stuff about their content creation. It's fun. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and ask, because I don't know the origin story. And I think everybody wants to know, how did you get started in creating content?
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Sorry, I'm putting a little bit of lip gloss on. But so, first of all, hello everyone. My name is AuraScope. You can just call me Aura. I'm a beauty and gaming content creator. As Jermaine just said, and look, I'm here in the gaming universe and the beauty universe, and it's a fun time. I've been in the scene since I was 18 years old. So it's been, oh my gosh, it's been almost 60 years, which is so wild to me.
Wow. That's wild.
I started my freshman year of college, and now we're here. Yeah.
Hold on. You started during college?
Yes.
That sounds intense. Okay.
Yeah. So my love for gaming and content creation honestly started way earlier. Way earlier. When I was in like middle school and such, a lot of people kind of knew me as like, she's that one girl that likes to play video games. I'm like, yup, real, you right. And I don't know. I really enjoyed being able to like sit down after classes were done, after school was done. I'd go and do like theater or dance. Then I'd come home and then I'd open up YouTube and I'd be watching the greats. I'd be watching the GOATs, Markiplier, Corey Kenshin, Dashy, Jacksepticeye. Yeah. Like I had that facet of my content watching, and then whenever I was like, okay, I switch over to the makeup goats like Jackie Aina, Ellery, Sandra Deluxe. Like that was my content consumption ever since I was 13, 14 years old.
Okay.
And I don't know, I was really into it. I really wanted to be a content creator. Like it's one of those sort of like embarrassing things that you tell people. It's like, Yeah, I know. I kind of. What do you want to be when you grow up? At
Right?
first, when I was really young, it was a pop star. I want to be like Britney Spears. Hello,
Okay.
but
Yeah. Who doesn't, right?
no, this is the second best. So here we go. I'll be fine.
Nice.
So I had that in the back of my mind as I was going to college. I was like, I still like I want to create content in some way, shape, or form. Like that wasn't like the dream job that I wanted to have necessarily, but it's something that I really wanted to commit myself to because as I was watching Mark and Corey and the Rad Brad and all of them, I still thought in the back of my mind, like, there are not a lot of girls or like women that I know of and not a lot of Black individuals in the space. Like that's kind of odd. That's a little weird, And
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to showcase myself in some way, shape, or form. And so freshman year of college, we had those like communal dorm spaces and such. And somebody was like, hey, like, you ever heard of like Twitch before? And I was like, yeah, like I've seen like a Twitch stream before, but YouTube was my primary like social media that I would use to like consume gaming content, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I ended up making a Twitch account like that October, but I didn't start streaming until that May, and classes had just ended. And here's the thing for all the beginners out there, please don't be nervous that you don't have the setup, that you don't have like the bells and whistles off rip, because it is a lot of money and it takes a lot of time. So when I started streaming off my iPhone 4.
What? Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah.
I remember I had the PlayStation 2 hooked up to our downstairs TV. And I was like, Dad, I really want to do this. Like, I don't know how to set up my phone though. And so we went out to Walmart, I think, got a little tripod hooked up. Yup. Set it up. Wow. You can see like my living room and everything.
Does this VOD still exist?
Nah, thankfully not.
I wanted to see that. That sounds wild.
I was playing, I played Final Fantasy 12, the OG version.
Yeah.
I played Mortal Kombat X, I think. And I also did some makeup streams as well. And so I was like kind of building an audience through that very, very slowly, obviously. But that summer of freshman year, and here's where things start to get a little wild. I ended up being, I guess, accepted into this program as a quote unquote internship for my college. And so that meant I had to stay at my college over the summer. I didn't have anything really set up in terms of like a living situation or whatnot. I just knew that I was going to be there for the entirety of the summer, which is not really something you want to do your freshman year going into your sophomore year. Yeah. Very unhappy, but I was like, I'm going to get the credit, whatever. It's just how it is. So I move in day, random roommate matchup, right? Yeah. I walked through the door and I was like, wait a second. Why do I know this person? Because this person, I love her. I love her so much. She's my best friend now. Her online name is Alondri. And we met each other once in like calc class that spring semester. And a mutual of ours just like introduced us to each other. And we were just like, hey. And I was like, oh, she's kind of shy. But when I walked in, I was like, wait, calc class? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, hi, what's up? How are you doing? And then as I was unpacking stuff, I saw she had a PC set up. And so I stared at her and I was like, wait a second. Is this a gaming PC? And she was like, yes. What? And like she felt called out.
Yeah, right. Like, she's like, why? What do you know?
I was like, that is so cool. Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Like we didn't know that we were both gamers at all. And so that was like one of the main ways that we bonded during that summer. And some nights I would go into like the communal dorm area. I'd haul my PlayStation 2 with me. I'd plug it in. I'd stream some Final Fantasy 12. I'd have to have some a little bit of a tussle sometimes with other people in the dorms because it was bachelor season. And because I didn't have a TV, the girls were like, they would come downstairs and be like, are you done? Because like the Bachelor's on. And I was like, oh, like streams canceled, y'all. The girls want to see the Bachelor.
That's wild. Oh man, this is crazy.
Yeah. But here's how I ended up acquiring the setup that I actually do now. So during this internship, it was It was STEM based, but in the same vein, I was there as a social media and like outreach coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And that job, it was a job.
Oh, it
And
sounds like it.
I, it was a very interesting experience. Now, admittedly, this was the first job I had ever had.
Like
And
ever?
yeah, ever.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I have been privileged enough that that was the first job that I ever had,
Yeah.
which was nice. I'm very very glad that I had this experience because it
Mm-hmm.
did really shape how I work from here on out, especially in
Right.
like group settings.
Yeah.
But in the same vein, it was not good. I did not like it at all. Oh my
Right.
god. Like 2 out of 10 experience. Do not ever want to do again. And it was just it, it was the first time that I really experienced what it was like being a young Black woman in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my
Yeah.
goodness. It just feels like no matter what I tried to do, it wasn't ever enough.
Right.
I had some people try to like cut me out of work intentionally, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'd end up having discussions with my boss, and they'd be like, "Why isn't this here or there?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I don't like. I was never communicated this information,"
Mm.
and it just seemed very apparent over that entire summer that even though they hired me to do a job in like social media management and outreach, that was not something that they were truly aligned with.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't really want to connect enough with the community to the point that I wanted to, because again, that was my job.
Right.
Needless to say, you could ask them, they would say that I left. I would say that I was fired.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, I got the check. So
Yes. Got paid.
I got paid. And it was $4,000 over the course of the entire summer.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally, quote unquote, I left like not even 4 days before the program even ended.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
it
Was
was,
that crazy?
yes, it was that crazy. And, but you know, they ended up continuing to work through the fall. Like it was supposed to be like a summer and fall thing, but our
Yeah.
summer portion was supposed to end in those few days. But anyway, I got a check for $4,000, and I was like, okay, half is going to my savings, and the other half is going to a gaming PC. And that is the PC that I
Yeah.
have today.
Oh man, that's a nice chunk of change for a PC too.
Yeah. So I was able to spend, I think the PC itself was like 1.2K,
Uh-huh.
and then getting the peripherals and stuff like that. That was like the rest of the money.
Right.
So, and then I started to stream.
Yeah.
That's the very lengthy origin story of how I'm here today.
No, that's amazing. I like that. Not only like so this social media outreach, did that teach you things about social media that you didn't know beforehand, or was it pretty
um,
much you knew what was going on at that point?
I pretty much knew what was going on, and it's kind of funny because I guess my my knack for being quote unquote chronically online has been helpful
Yeah.
to me
Uh-huh.
for the past like 8 to 10 years of my life, because that was technically my second position as a social media and outreach coordinator in high school. Again, the nerd in me has been consistent the whole way through. In high
Love it.
school, I was actually on my robotics team, and
Ooh.
yeah. And
Okay.
I was a coder, but back then we had a small team, so we really needed to make sure that we maximize who was doing what. And even though I could code, I was still kind of new to it, still kind of slow. And there are
Mhm.
other people who are just a lot quicker with it. So I was like, okay, how else am I supposed to parse my time and in a way that's the most effective for this team? And so I decided to handle the social media and like outreach adjacent things, and creating the engineering notebook is what they called it. So I documented
Okay.
all of our meetings and all that good stuff. And so that's where that really started. And it developed through the internship that I had freshman year.
Mhm.
And then past that job of my internship, I ended up being a part of my school's interdisciplinary esports program. So I helped create that, which is really, really dope. It's really awesome.
Okay.
And I was also the social media and outreach coordinator for that. So it's
Yeah.
like there's always a need to fulfill, and I'm present.
Yes. And you have skill sets in it. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, I like that. And you know what? This is a new section that I've added. I didn't mention this at the beginning of the podcast, so if you
No,
don't want
you're
to do it, we
good.
don't have to. But for those who don't know, I know Aura from when her screen name used to be We Makeup.
Yup.
We Makeup stream. And so
Yup.
I remember when you changed it, like it took me honestly, it took me like 2 weeks to like make the switch in my head.
Yep.
And so my question is, how both, you know what, we're gonna do both. How did you come up with We Make Up stream,
Oh,
and
okay.
what prompted the switch?
Okay, so funny. You should say that. When I created my page, initially, and I love it because on my Instagram stories, I can see like, all the way far back from the very beginning. And 18-year-old me was like, I know that there are like other people out there that like beauty and gaming just as much as I do. I just gotta find that and create that community. That's how I'm gonna start this page. But my name, which is actually We Make Up Steam, which is one of the reasons why I changed it, is so it's a big, big acronym. So the
Oh damn.
WE is actually supposed to stand for Women's Empowerment,
Okay.
and makeup because I like to do makeup and stuff, and then STEAM because I was a STEM kid, and yeah, and so I added the A because contrary to popular belief, arts is very much so integrated into STEM studies. That is essentially what gaming is, and
True.
a lot of people do not want to admit that for some odd reason.
I never
But
thought about that. That's
yeah, so that's what my name was, and I didn't necessarily create my name with the specific intention to be a gaming creator necessarily.
Right.
Like I just want to be a creator, and it was hard because for those that are aware, in like the beauty community, you always go by like your name. And that's not something that I necessarily wanted to do. But in gaming, people have like a mix of their name and their gamer tag and this, that, and the third. And so it's just like, what am I supposed to do? Because I wasn't really essentially comfortable with saying my name.
Yeah.
And also because my name for a lot of people is not really the easiest to say. It's Kai, but it's spelled like chai.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to like mess it up too much. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just figure out like what to do and like what to say. So I created that. But as time moved forward and I became integrated into the Twitch space and I was more involved in gaming, I realized that like, oh, A, my name's really long. B, people don't know what to really call me. Like most people called me Makeup, but some people called me Steam, or some people called me We Makeup, which is all three were fine. But I was like, it needs to be a little bit more universal. And because I want to continue growing in this space, like I gotta have something that's like, it's got tact. It's got pull.
Yes.
So, and people kept saying my name incorrectly by saying my name was We Make Up Stream. And I was like, it's like it's a misnomer, I guess, or it's like a slip up that I knew people they just said because that's what they would read and not necessarily like something that they knew. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna see what I can do. And so I was on the phone with my friends and I was like, oh my God, y'all, like what is my new name supposed to be? Like, I gotta shed this skin. All right. I gotta come into something new. And they're like, I don't know. We were throwing around names that are ridiculous. And I was like, because when you think of a lot of content creators out there, a lot of them they just so happen to acquire like a one-word name that they just became popular with. Like,
yes.
Because I'm thinking of like Overwatch right now, like Super, Sleepy,
right?
Aspen. Like it's just like it's kind of just there. And then you have yeah, and then you have like the really fun, catchy ones, Chelsea Bites, Cup of Noodle, Story Mode Bay. I'm like, it just fits, but what fits with me?
Right?
Like you're having a crisis. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, it'd be kind of funny. I was like, it'd be a funny drag name or a scope. Like it would be somebody who would like, read like your horoscopes or like would also be like fighting and like shooting games. Like that would be so funny.
Holy crap.
And I was like, wait, that kind of sticks.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how that happened.
That is what?
Yeah. So
And it
that's
works.
yeah, and it works. And I'm like, the added benefit is that, I like being able to hopefully provide really fun, positive, and chaotic vibes to my stream. And some people would like to say I have an aura about me. So
Mm-hmm.
there's that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this name, you fell into a perfect name. Like, what?
hmm
Names are always hard, like when you're naming either yourself, like as far as your
Yes.
personality or it's a business or a
Yes.
website. Coming up with new names is always, I hate doing that. But
Absolutely.
you nailed it. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You know what? We'll go ahead and roll into our current mindset. This is where I ask my guests how they feel about their current content and what they see themselves doing in the future. So what does that look like for you?
So just to like give you a scope of where my head's at, the
Mhm.
past year, I know the past 2 years of my life have been so odd because me 2 years ago, I was a senior in college and
Mhm.
I have been waiting so patiently because I started content creation while I was in college. I was like, this isn't even my full form. Like, I'm doing
Yeah,
this on the side of like
exactly.
going to class, doing these activities, like going to all these events. And
Mhm.
I was so bummed out because I would have to like deny showing up to like cons and stuff like that because I was like, "Oh my god, I have school, like I just
Right.
can't leave." and like mess up my schedule for something like going to a con or being there for some appearance or some sort. And it would bum me out so much. I'm like, I just can't wait until I graduate and then I'm gonna be
Mm.
free and then I can do all these things that I want to do and blah 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 blah. Anyway, so we roll into me going directly from undergrad into grad school. Yeah, I don't know if I would ever do that again.
Yeah, no free time.
Yeah. I was in a 1-year program. It was accelerated.
Ooh,
I got my master's of science in business analytics, and
okay.
um, it was nah.
Like, so was it 4 years into one or
So basically, the average MSBA program or like business analytics type program is about 2 years in length or like at least a year and a half. And they're
yeah.
like, no, you can get it done in 10 months. And that's just the program
Good
that my college had. Yeah.
God.
So I did that. Didn't like it, but I got the degree.
Mhm.
I can say with all confidence that I can code, which, I mean, that's been a statement that I could say for years,
For
but
sure.
now I got the degree to back it up.
Yeah.
Um, but I was in a point where, like, still in the back of my mind, I want to work in the gaming industry in some capacity or in entertainment. Like, this is what I like. This is what I want to do.
Mhm.
Um, and so I've been applying to jobs kind of while still doing content creation. And I knew that I built up a pretty decent rep by hosting tournaments. And I was really, really passionate about that in college. Like, I
Mhm.
really wanted to make sure that I could build a community and highlight individuals in the space through esports as a whole. And because like competitive gaming is cool, it's
Yes, it
really
is.
fun.
Yes.
It's fun to watch. I think it's more fun to watch than to compete, but that's just me.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But being able to like host and cast and like being able to put on events like that and
Mhm.
to also be elevating the community as a whole and specifically the Black community, like,
Mm.
come
Right.
on.
There's so many dope like esports Black communities out there that I didn't even
Mhm.
like realize. I was like, I didn't even know this dude played Apex. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I really wanted to make sure that I kept that up in some capacity. But when you look at it from an objective point of view, you already know the gaming industry
Mhm.
right now, it is in shambles. Like
Yes. Yes, it is.
every other week there's some layoff that is going on. Every other day there's just something that's going on that is like, oh my
Yeah, like this is
god.
happening now. Okay.
Yeah, you just gotta you look at Twitter and it's like, okay,
Mhm.
I guess we'll get them next time. I don't know. Like, and so I like doing what I do. But in the same vein, like when I look back at all the things that I've done the past couple of years,
Mhm.
I joined this space because I wanted to create fun content. I want to play games to have a good time. I've been playing video games since I was 5 years old. That has not
Yes.
changed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I need to be able to still make sure that I bring that same like childlike joy that I had into
Right.
what I do on like a daily basis or a weekly basis, you know? And I think people understand this, but they're like, yeah, I get it. But anyway, um, hosting events is not for the weak.
I
Oh my
right.
God. And I love the fact that I have the ability to be able to get people together,
Mm-hmm.
but oh my God. I don't think I really don't think people understand how much work goes into the events that I host because
Yeah.
for Black is Legendary 2024, for an example, I thought of the idea of hosting this event in July. Like during
Oh
con
damn.
season. Yeah, during con season, I am like writing down like general plans like, "Ooh, what if I get a bunch of these like black orgs together and like we just have like a tournament series?" And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
when should I do that? Black History Month? Yeah, okay. And I was talking to Jay Ann from BGG
Yep.
during DreamCon. Like I had a conversation with her and she was like, yeah, like I'm down. And then when TwitchCon rolled around in September, I met Supreme and I talked to her and she was like, send me a pitch deck and everything, like, make sure. And I was like, okay, yeah. Cause like we haven't ever met each other and I'm
Right.
not in community. I'm not a big creator either. So like she just didn't know who I was. And I was
Right. I
like
feel you.
shot in the dark type of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So October and November rolled around. I was going through some personal things, so I just did not have the time or the energy to commit to really putting in the work. But late November, early December, all systems were go.
Right.
Truly. And I have been grinding like every day from around Christmas time until like the end of January to get Black is Legendary together. And I would be working probably anywhere between like 4 and 6 hours a day.
Ooh.
And it could, yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. And there were some days where I'm like, okay, I actually have to rest because once February actually rolls around, I'm not going to be able to rest. Like I got to do everything.
Right.
And because again, going back to the whole like, I like what I do, but this is a lot of work. It's not what
Mm-hmm.
I started off like content creation doing.
Right.
I want to get back into the personal content that I enjoy. Like I enjoy like playing the video games themselves, not just
Right.
organizing the events for them. I like
Exactly.
putting on clothes and looking cute and putting on makeup and like talking about that and
Right.
educating my audience about new makeup trends and stuff like that. Like even though we don't do it all too often, I know my stream loves a good get ready with me. And they love
Mm-hmm.
to stay updated on stuff.
Right.
So that's what my focus is right now. And I'm technically on a bit of a break from Black is Legendary still, because when I tell you that wore me out,
I
oh my
bet.
God. I'm still like on a bit of a content break, but I think about the types of content that I want to continue to do. Cause I did start that.
Mm-hmm.
I started posting get ready with me's on my YouTube, some indie games, and also like other large game titles like the Mortal Kombat 1,
Mm-hmm.
Starfield, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I was starting to do that because I still want to invest back into myself,
Right.
Aurascope the creator, and not
Mm-hmm.
just Aurascope the esports tournament host, you know?
Yes. Yes.
So yeah.
I think you're realizing this the longer you create content. I think when we're passionate and happy and excited about what we're creating, that shit shows in the content. And that's when our
Right.
best content comes out.
Right.
Dope. All right. It's time to learn a lesson, or somebody's gonna learn a lesson. What lessons have you learned that you can equate to because you created content?
um so the first one, it's in tandem with like just growing up.
Yeah.
You really have to take time for yourself. Like it I've had people tell me that as I've like grown up and I'm like, yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
specifically being a child of two parents who are very gung-ho on education, and it's been hammered into my brain that my education was going to be the ticket to my success in life. And so
Gotcha.
I was like, I have to keep going. No matter what is going on, I need to keep going. And so it was just like I was actively burning myself out because I saw that, the good grades, the degree, that is the only thing that's going to make me successful as a person.
Right.
And that's not true. Like that's not the only thing, right? Like
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
glad
yeah.
I'm dual degreed in 5 years, period. But
Yeah,
also,
that's
good
dope.
Lord, girl, rest.
Right. Exactly. Take a break.
Yeah. So, and that absolutely goes with content creation. I used to do like two tournaments a year because I've done a total of 6 or 7, I
That
think.
you've hosted?
Yeah.
Okay. Damn. I didn't
So
realize it was that many. Okay.
yeah. So it's been a lot, and I used to do like 2 a year, and then last year I took a break for a little bit because after the original Black is Legendary in 2022, I was like, I can't do this. Like there was just so much going on.
Yeah.
I could not. There's too many factors. And especially when you host an event for Black History Month, a lot of the wrong type of people start to come out the woodwork
This
and
is
start to be
true.
very, very racist and bigoted and deceitful and real hateful. And it was just a lot for me to take on. So I was like,
Right.
I gotta stop. Like I gotta take a time to rest and reset for me. And doing that while also still being in school, I truly look back and I'm like, what was I on? Because
Right?
like why was I doing this while also having a full like credit load, being in a sorority, being in like esports, I had a job? Like what am I doing?
Oh my
What
goodness.
are we doing?
Yeah.
Like I was firing literally on all cylinders for 4 years, and I was like, all right, girl, we gotta hang it up. And it's always a topic of conversation for us today's like citizens of the world, is that a work-life balance truly does not seem like it's possible because there's so many things that are demanding our attention at all
Yes.
times, and it feels selfish for us to be like, actually, no, I'm going to sit here and I'm not going to do a single thing. And you can't get mad at me. And if you
Right?
are, it's not my business.
Exactly. Exactly.
It feels so awkward, even though it's incredibly human for us to value rest. Like, that's just what you need to do. You have to make time for yourself, because if you don't, you are going to end up falling apart. And I've done that several times throughout the past several years because I felt like I was trying to do so much, trying to keep other people happy, regardless of whether it was going to be a benefit or a detriment to myself and my mental health. Like, that is one thing that I absolutely learned.
Yeah, that's a great lesson to learn. I think you hit the nail on the head with it feels selfish taking that time for yourself, but from old dude Crip, like take that time. Like people who love you and understand will they'll deal with it, but and the ones who don't, fuck them. Like honestly,
Truly.
like you
Truly.
cannot worry about those people. But yes, take that time because it's needed. You need to have your brain just like take a little moment to just rest. Don't hear anything. Don't think about a problem. Don't think about what you got to do tomorrow. Just take a little break. It is very, very helpful. So yeah, I'm glad you A called that out and B are doing that because 2 degrees, 5 years, you've been running all these tournaments.
Yes.
Like I knew you were busy, but I didn't realize how like chaotic it is.
Yes.
Like, gee.
The amount of times in which like I will say my time in which I worked in like collegiate esports while also being a content creator it was just weird. It was so weird because it was like I didn't ever get a break from gaming.
Yes.
Because I was like, okay, there's a league event that's happening, and then I have to plan for like Rocket League, and then hold on, I gotta make sure that I highlight the Apex team, but I also need to do this. There's also this event I have to talk to like administration and and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna rest. Do I even feel like gaming?
Right? Exactly.
That's exactly how it felt. And I'm like, maybe.
Oh man. I don't know if you feel like this, but I think like on the outside looking in, you went through all that, gained all that knowledge, and now
Mhm.
so present you have like a wealth of experiences, things that you've gone through, things that you know that you can get through
Yeah.
to like start shaping your future and be like, all right, I know I don't want to do this, and if I ever
Yes.
do this again, this is how I'm going to do it.
Absolutely.
That's fun.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. All right. You know what? We've been dropping advice for those listening throughout the podcast, which is always fun. But here we're going to give a specific piece of advice to whoever you choose to. So who would you like to provide some advice from AuraScope that you would deem beneficial?
This I would say specifically for the younger, like Black girls and the young Black women that are getting into this space. Um, we don't, like, as a gaming community in general, we don't state enough the purpose and the strength in community. Please go and find the communities that are right for you. And if you're sitting here and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. One of the first things I did when I got onto Twitter, because I knew that I heard that being in gaming, you got to be on Twitter. I
Mhm.
looked up, I wonder like if there's a community of like Black girls that like to game.
Mhm. Mhm.
A good old Google search will do you so many wonders. Oh my god! And then I found Black Girl Gamer.
Hey, look at
Like
that.
there's BGG, there's or Black Girl Gamers, there's Brown Girl Gamer Code,
Mhm.
there's the Noir Network, which I'm also a part of. There's community, there's the Twitch Black Guild, there's Melanin Gamers. Like literally the list is so, it is endless. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad that we have gotten to a point in this space where you can quite literally have the choice to figure out which community that you fit into best. I
Mhm.
am a member of the Noir Network and Black Girl Gamers, and I'm also a member of the Twitch Black Guild. Like that's just what I'm a part of, but I still support all of the other communities that are within the microcosm of Black
Right.
gaming. You know?
Exactly.
And it's just it makes your experience so much better because
Mhm.
you know that you have people that you can look at, that you can either look up to or want to game with, because BGG has a community of hundreds of people. There are a lot of people in BGG. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. And you will not be alone in any way, shape, or form. And it's something that we just don't talk about it enough. And I think that we really need to, because once you get into like your little niche of people,
Mhm.
it really is sort of like a fuck all that noise from other
Yes.
people.
Yes.
As long as you have the people around you that you want to enjoy their presence and you hope that they enjoy yours, and
Mhm.
you are just having a good time and you're doing what you want to do in the first place, like there's nothing else that can really like harm that.
Yeah. 100% community, and I've been running away from doing the community aspect of content
Mhm,
creation for a while. Like I'm just now
mhm.
starting to like embrace it because for me I was very self-conscious about what other people thought of me,
Yeah.
which like on hindsight, like one of my good friend Ronan, I just had him on the podcast. He got hardcore into D&D, like the pen and paper type shit. And I've always wanted to do that, but because where I was growing, I used to live in Montana, and there's like three
Mhm.
Black people in Montana. So
Please.
right, and so everybody who was doing D&D was white, and I was like, oh, I guess I can't do this. Fuck
Yeah,
all that. Like I
truly.
the last 2 weeks we've been playing D&D, and it's been the most fun I've had in content in regards to like gaming, and I can't even remember. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, definitely reach out, find your community, and because like you said, it makes the noise around gaming that gets tossed at us easier to mute, easier to dial
Yes.
down because you got a bunch of people around you who think like you, who are in the same mindset as you, and y'all are just making content, having fun, and enjoying each other's company. Thank you for doing this. I had a blast just listening to you rattle off all your accomplishments, hearing where you're going to go in the future. Where would you like to send the audience to check out your content?
You can find me on all platforms, including Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at AuraScope TV. And then you can find me on YouTube at AuraScope. Period.
Perfect. and to nobody's surprise, of course you're on every platform. So you do everything.
You gotta diversify that content.
Exactly. Especially when platforms want to be getting banned and kicked out of the US and all that. Anyways, I don't know.
Anyway.
You know, again, Aura, thank you for doing this. This has been a dope conversation. I hope you had fun.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It was a good time.
No problem at all. And for everybody else out there, thank you for listening. I appreciate you as always. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. We're on Apple Music, Google Podcast doesn't exist anymore. We're on Spotify, Alexa. Like, I'm pretty sure if you search for Uploaded and Unfiltered on your podcast catcher of choice, the show up. Other than that, I appreciate y'all. And as always, protect your mental, keep creating content, and I will talk to y'all in the next one. Peace. Thank you for listening this deep into the podcast. I truly do appreciate it. If you enjoy what you heard and you want to get this podcast to a state where I can actually make even more changes in creators' lives, please share the podcast with those that you know. They probably can get some enjoyment or some information from the podcast. Head over to upun.buzzsprout.com. That is upun.buzzsprout.com to check out where the podcast is hosted. On that website, there will be a variety of different places where you can actually subscribe to the podcast. And if you do subscribe, I would appreciate a rating and a review on whatever platform you listen to this on. Those ratings and those reviews help the podcast elevate into a higher level so I can become more discoverable in searches and things of that nature. Also, check out the website uploadedandunfiltered.com if you want to check out every guest that's been on the podcast, as well as links to their content as well. And last but not least, if you want to financially support the podcast, you can do so at buymeacoffee.com/uploaded and unfiltered. Set up a donation site there. All money that goes there will be directly poured back to the podcast to help for hosting and things of that nature. Again, thank you for listening. This has been a project that I have dreamed about building, and it is here and we are doing it, and I am nothing but excited for its future. Until then, I'll see y'all in the next one.